Okay, so, as I mentioned before, I was originally going to do a video on villain morality in MLP. But after thinking over my original points, and a couple of rewrites later, I got tired of it. Maybe I'll try again later, maybe I won't, I'm not sure yet. On the other hand, I still wanted to make a video, and it somewhat has to do with villains, but this time the topic is happiness, and don't worry, I got an expert for this. It's this guy! Why is he credible? Well, from what I understand, he had a list of mental diseases and strokes. He had an anti-Semitic sister who later corrupted most of his manuscripts, posthumously, and he left this wonderful love letter to his fans. His name is Friedrich Nietzsche, and as you can see, he is the epitome of happiness and joy. Clearly, there is no better man for this subject. But back to seriousness here. In the philosophical community and beyond, Nietzsche was quite famous for his cynicism, and here we will talk about how he viewed hardship. It can be summed up by something called hedonic set point. Essentially it says that you first need misery in order to be happy, and to remove misery is a bad thing because in removing misery you lose the ability to be happy, and vice versa. Nietzsche likened it to climbing a mountain. To experience the beautiful scenery and staggering view, one must first face the challenge posed by the climb. But what do Nietzsche, his metaphorical mountain, and happiness have to do with cartoon ponies? Well, a lot actually. Look at all the major villains of the story, and what they represent. Sombra is a mass of tyranny and terror, who ruled the Crystal Empire with an iron fist. We don't know much about it other than it was obviously bad, which is reinforced by these two reactions.
Are you sure? Absolutely sure?
I'm sorry. I wish I could help you, but I can't seem to remember anything before King Sombra came to power. And I don't want to remember anything about the time he ruled over us. Ugh.
He's back! I can't take it! Sombra!
Sombra completely broke the Crystal Empire and its inhabitants, yet he was vanquished by the same culture and the same people he had emotionally eviscerated. They get a stronger sense of love for their country and culture, perhaps even each other, because Sombra had and was capable of destroying it. Thus they value it more. Then there is Chrysalis, who uses disguises to change into the form of a loved one, to literally steal love from that person as food, and then use their victim as a resource for this. This is a representation of unrequited love. The same force of love that had defeated Sombra works the same way with Chrysalis and the Changelings. Being loved feels good. Loving someone else feels good. I'm sure having both in a relationship elevates those even further. But more value is added to it because beings like Chrysalis would exploit and abuse that. It makes a genuine relationship all the more worth it, and valuable. Then there is Nightmare Moon. She was created out of jealousy and perhaps what could be seen as another form of unrequited love. After all, she put so much effort into her night and no one appreciated it. Either way, it turned her into a monster, and after the elements of harmony cleansed her, we get a tearful reaction from and reunion with Princess Celestia. No doubt their relationship is stronger after having Luna absent for 1,000 years because of this. I went with Discord last because his arc is an almost perfect allegory for Nietzsche's mountain. I will agree with other analysts when they say that Twilight gained her friends with questionable ease, though it could be debated. Either way, the climb is in nearly every episode where they learn something about friendship, which is to say, every episode. But it is really ramped up in the Discord arc, more so than the others because Discord actually broke the friendship, and later breaks Twilight. It is here she is reminded about her previous trials with her friends, and how their friendships have improved from them, among other things. It is also here that Twilight goes after her friends despite what they have done to her under Discord's influence, and succeeds in saving them.
I'm just wondering if it's okay if I hold you down against your will for a little bit?
It is here, when the main six are back to normal and are about to defeat Discord, that they really have reached the summit of Pitt's Corvatch. They also state the episode's moral, that friendship can be hard, but it's definitely worth fighting for. As for comparisons of this to Nietzsche's Mountain Go, you could not pick a moral that would suit it better in this context. Now, I don't need to tell you about how the main six now value their friendship more because of this. Even Twilight was having similar thoughts whilst reading the letters, and the other main six had similar reactions upon their redemption. Now, this is my in-show argument. but can also be present in the writing of the show itself, and why it appeals to some people, myself included. Look at the setting and characters for a moment. Unlike most little kid shows, they are actually balanced. What do I mean by this? Well, starting with the characters, they are balanced by actual flaws to go along with their positive traits. Equestria itself is bright and beautiful enough to draw one in, but there's also just enough darkness and mystery with odd locations and threatening villains who themselves have character. These not only help suck you in, but keep you there. Even cynical shows need some form of optimism to properly work, and in some cases, to better define their cynicism. The opposite is true here. After all, if the main six were written off as perfect, given no flaws, always succeeding at what they do, always effortlessly beating their antagonists, assuming there are any, and living in a one-dimensional, perfect world, then it becomes terrible by its lack of dimension. But Friendship is Magic doesn't do that, and if you ask me, it was all for the better.